Okay, spring is finally here. So today we're outside. We're going to be working on the 1980 Ski Nautique. Let's jump inside and see what we're going to do. Okay, so this is my 351 Windsor, which is in this 1980 Ski Nautique. Boat runs really good still. I've had it for about 8 years, and but the engine's just showing some wear as far cosmetically. So what I want to do is pull these valve covers off this spring, and I'm going to clean them up and repaint them. I'll show you their just the paint on them is peeling a bit. Probably do some other cosmetic touch-ups on the engine, but for this episode it's just going to be about the valve covers. Okay, so the biggest challenge is basically just accessing the bolts that run along this side of the valve covers. You can see it's pretty tight in between here. I don't want to have to remove the exhaust manifolds because they're kind of rusted on, and I don't want to break any bolts off and turn this into a bigger job. So I'm not sure if you can see in here. This is definitely the most challenging one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this socket extension with this swivel on here, and that'll allow me to access that center bolt and then get the valve covers off. So, all right, what I'm going to do is just show you how I get to this center bolt here on the side close to the exhaust manifold. It's going to be the toughest, and then I'll probably speed it up as I do the rest. It does take some kind of wiggling around to get it on there. It's out. So it's not that hard, just takes a little bit of finesse. Okay, so I've got all the bolts out now. I'm just going to pull the valve cover off. So yeah, this gasket has had it, so it's a good thing that I'm pulling this off, and I'll replace that. So. Okay, so I've moved inside. I was going to do this outside, but it's really windy out there right now, so we're going to work in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just try to remove any of these O-rings. This one has a gasket or something here, and it's definitely perished. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to tape off this decal because I'm going to try and save that. But we'll see how that goes. It looks like it's starting to peel there. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Okay, so now I'm going to use some this aircraft paint stripper. I've used it on other projects, and it works really well for removing the paint without like damaging the metal at all. So it is fairly dangerous, so make sure you use gloves and we're in a well ventilated area, so basically just brush it on, let it sit for a bit, and then you'll see the paint start to bubble up. So. Okay, so you can see after about 5 minutes or so, it's really started to bubble up here. What I'm going to do is just take a scraper and kind of remove most of it, and then I may apply a little bit more to the sections that hasn't started to bubble up. It works a lot better if there's a little bit of where that the paint was starting to peel already. So I'm going to do that, and then I will probably apply, like I said, apply another coat. Okay, so this is after the first coat. I went out and just kind of sprayed them, got the rest of that first coat of the paint stripper off. Now I'm going to do a second one and just kind of let it sit. I also scuffed it up a bit on the parts that it didn't bite into the last time. So one more coat and then that should do it. Okay, so basically all the paint is off now. I'm just gonna give them a bit of a scuff up, smooth them out, take care of any scratches and stuff, any major scratches, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of rust converter on here, and then I'm gonna prime them. All right. Okay, so I'm outside. I'm just going to give these a good cleaning now with some isopropanol alcohol. This is a very important step if you want the paint and primer to stick properly. So I'll do this quickly, and then I'm going to put down a coat of primer. Okay, so that's the first coat. It's just basically a nice light kind of coat just to get the product on there, which will allow, once it dries a bit and gets tacky, the second coat and third coat to stick properly without running. So the next two coats will probably be a little bit heavier. Okay, after two coats you can see I've got pretty good coverage. I'll probably do one more coat of primer, then I'll let that dry, and then I'll move on to the actual paint color. Okay, so I'm ready to start laying down some color. So I'm going to be using this dupe of color. It's a dark forward blue. I'm hoping this is going to match the engine color. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just make sure these are clean again, and start with a nice light coat, and then I'll follow up with a couple of wet coats. Okay, so this is after coat one. I've given it about 10 minutes to dry. I'm going to put a second coat on, a little thicker, and then I'll wait another 10 minutes and do a third coat. Okay, so I'm going to put on the third and final coat here, and then we should be good. Okay, so I had the final coat on. I've let it sit for a bit. I'm just going to peel this off. Masking tape here. Okay, and now that it's nice and dry, I'm going to reinstall this piece here. Okay, and we're pretty much set to go back into the boat. They turned out good. Big improvement from the way they were, so we're all set to go back on. Okay, so we're back in the boat. I'm going to reinstall the valve covers with the new gaskets. Basically, I cleaned up the surface here so it's nice and smooth. I'm not going to use any like sealant or anything. I'm just putting the gaskets in dry, so make sure everything lines up okay. Get this top center one started because that way it'll hold everything else in line. It's easy to access. Okay, so I've got both sides done now. I think it's a huge improvement, so still got a few more things to do just to clean things up, maybe redo some of the wiring and maybe distributor cap and things like that, but right now I think it looks pretty good, a lot better than it was. I'll just show you the other side here, and yeah, there we go. Okay, so that concludes this episode. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I've got more videos coming out, and thanks for tuning in to Analog Generation.